Hello, good evening. Welcome to my channel once again. Thank you, subscribers. Thank you, everyone who is listening to this video. Today, I'm here with a very interesting as well as a very alarming topic. By the way, it's a very important topic also. We as parents actually knows all this behavioral traits that I'm going to talk in this video, but we tend to forget it. So I thought it would be a good reminder for all the parents around, which would help them to understand what kind of psychological problems or behavioral or developmental problems a child can actually get because of the few parenting mistakes that parents tend to make. I would say tend to make. Parents usually, we don't make mistakes just to make mistakes, right? We often know all this, but we tend to forget all this, and sometimes it happens that this psychological problems or behavioral developmental problems occurs on a child because of a few parenting or behavioral traits. So I thought I'll discuss this topic today, which is actually very alarming. It's alarming because I read a very recent statistics by Institute of Mental Health of Children, which says that one out of six children suffer from behavioral or developmental problems. Isn't that alarming? I feel it's really alarming. So I thought I should discuss this topic with all the parents around, which would help them in their parenting, right? The first thing is, have you ever seen your child experiencing lack of independence? In behavioral psychology, when I studied behavioral psychology, I remember there was a group of parents called as helicopter parents. Helicopter parents. Why are they called helicopter parents? Because they continuously watch. They continuously watch and scrutinize the child's behavior. They are constantly behind children, seeing what has been happening, how they are walking, how they are behaving, constantly behind children. You know what? This kind of parents actually causes overprotection. Or you know what? I've often heard of parents telling their children, watch out, you will fall down. Or what else? Don't touch the dog, it will bite you. You know what the child hears from all these statements? The child only hears the world is dangerous and it's better to do nothing. Instead, what can you say for this? You can say, look out for yourself, or be careful. Be careful. That should be enough. I feel that we should allow our child or children to do mistakes. Let them do mistakes and let them draw conclusions from them. Instead of overprotecting them, constantly being behind them, it will actually irritate them. It will sometimes make them stubborn. It's better to leave them. And I don't mean to just leave them like this. Of course, you should have a thread in your hand, but don't be constantly like helicopter parents. Don't be like them. Let them do mistakes and let them draw conclusions from them. You can be as a shadow behind them actually, and then you can help them in making conclusions. But don't prevent them from any mistakes. Like you just fear them from everything. I don't think it will actually help. So that is the first type of first behavioral issue: lack of independence. Another psychological problem or developmental problem usually seen is feeling of guilt or depression. Are you a parent who says, we refused ourselves everything just to give you this? We refused ourselves everything just to give you higher education, just to buy you this toys, just to buy you this, that. You know what? It actually causes a feeling of undeserved guilt in the child. Or are you parents who says, how many times should I tell you? Can't you study better? The child understands as, you know what, if I don't get any praisings, I don't get any praises or good words from my parents. Only thing that I hear is shouting and screaming on me. You know what they understand in themselves? They understand that I'm a fool or I'm a failure, I'm a good for nothing, which actually causes lack of confidence in them, a feeling of guilt in them. So we as parents should be careful in our statements. We should not let them to fall into the feeling of guilt. Instead, we should help them to build their confidence, which is much more important, as I believe. Hope you too. The next one is, does your child finds difficulty to relax and rest completely? Have you noticed it in your children? It may be because of the statements like be serious, don't behave like a baby. You know what understanding does a child gets from these statements? The child will hate themselves. The child will start hating themselves. What I believe is, as you know, a childhood is the best time ever in life. Let them enjoy their childhood. Let them behave like a child, and it's only to you that they can behave like a child, right? They cannot go to somebody else and behave like a child. Definitely no. So when they behave like a child, let them be. Let them just be as they want with you, because end of the day, you are the one who knows them better than anybody else in the world, right? The next psychological or behavioral issue, concern, problem that is being seen is personal life issue. Have you ever told your child not to trust anyone? If so, or you actually fear him for everything, you don't do that because it will have this will happen. You don't do this because this is going to happen. If you say this all the time, the child understands that the world is dangerous and there is trap everywhere. So the child limits himself from doing anything. What I mean is, like, we as parents usually we tend to overprotect the child. We just think my child is too young to understand, so let me do everything for him. So you know what? You decide everything for them. I'm not saying you are wrong. You may be right, of course. Whatever you're doing for the child will be right, of course. But when the child lives with this constant limitation, he will start rebelling himself. That is the issue. When the child lives in constant limitations, without opinions, without suggestions, the child will start rebelling himself. He will have that frustration in him which will lead him to where I need not tell you, I'm sure you know. That's another issue. Or another would be, have you seen your child with lack of initiative in them? Lack of initiative. The child has an issue of taking initiatives in life when the parents tell them, don't act smart with me, or you know what, I'm a parent, I know what I'm doing, so be on your limits, don't cross the limits, I know what I'm doing. If these statements are being said to the children, they understands as, you know, they understands that they should be without any opinions. And when the child gets that feeling that he cannot have any opinion on himself, he will lose the leadership skills in him. And once he loses the leadership skills, it will be very difficult for him to compete in this very competitive world, right? That's another issue. And another behavioral problem is decreased self-esteem. Have you seen your children with reduced or very low self-esteem? If you have seen that concern in your child, it's because you compare the child too much with somebody else. And when you compare your child with somebody else, what happens is inferiority complex develops in the child. Inferiority complex. Oh my God, that's really a huge topic. I need another session to discuss about inferiority complex in children, which is very, very, very crucial actually. An inferiority complex can actually suppress or collapse the child, and mentally, I'm talking about mental behavior, okay? So this collapsing of mental behavior can be crucial in a child's life. So we need to be very careful, you know, in comparing your child with another child. That child, you know, do you say, look at him, how well he performs? You know what the child understands, or the child hears from the statements? Child understands that he is worse than anyone. Oh my God, that's a very alarming comparison actually, which we tend to forget. You know, as parents, we often have the tendency, you know, in this competition world, you know, parents usually have a feeling of comparison with other child. Like you may actually compare your child with another child who has higher grade, or who is more beautiful, who is more disciplined, who is very healthy. Actually, you create a very, very alarming inferiority complex in the child, which will actually affect the child too much. So I think we need to be careful. We should not compare our child with others. Our child is the best, you know. Children are God's gift, and they are unique in one's own way. and that uniqueness is well understood by a father and a mother. That's what I believe. No, somebody else may not be able to understand that uniqueness of your child, but your child is unique. Your child is, it has all the right to be loved. It has all the right to be respected. Yeah, it's not that just because he is a child, he is so young, he need not be respected. No, he deserves respect. We need to respect him. So these are some of the parenting mistakes which are quite very common, but I would say their price is too high. We really need to be very careful when we do this kind of behavioral traits. Our overindulgence or inconsistency will definitely, it will lead the child to be very nervous and naughty. You can avoid this. You just need to cherish, understand, and love your kids. All these behavioral traits can be avoided just with this simple tip, which is you just need to cherish, understand, and love your kids. As I discuss in every video of mine, the most important responsibility of a parent is not to discipline him, is to love him as he is. So, which is most important. So I think it's very clear now that we need to be careful with the behavioral traits and our statements to the children which may affect the children negatively. Let's be careful so that the child would enjoy the childhood and we as parents would enjoy our parenthood also, because this will vanish in fraction of seconds. So let's enjoy our parenthood, let them enjoy their childhood. Love your child as he or she is. She is unique, he is unique, and they are God's wonderful, blessed gift to you. And you are just amazing. You are amazing because you are a wonderful parent. Take care, stay healthy. Don't forget to like and subscribe the channel, because you'd be getting the notifications for the coming videos, which would be more interesting and I would be there with more alarming topics. Thank you. See you next time. Till then, bye bye. Take care.